Ben, how would you kind of characterize that day today?
Yeah, I think everyone would probably say it was kind of a grind. Fortunately, having a later tee time, I didn't have to battle the elements quite as much as some of the early groups. Definitely had some heavier rain at times, but it looked like the early guys had more of the tougher draw. So for me, I was fortunate to try to take advantage of some of that. It was didn't really make a lot of birdies, but had a really steady round. And yeah, just the one hiccup on 10. But a day like today, when it's really wet, I think hitting in the rough is just even more penal. The ball just kind of goes straight to the bottom with the moisture, and then when there's moisture, it's harder to get to the ball down in the rough. So I had some very tricky lies. I got some good breaks on a couple of holes where I was in the rough and was able to get it up to the green. So all in all, coming off of yesterday where I made just about everything I looked at, you can't do that every day when you're playing golf. So I'll take it, and I'm excited to kind of keep the pedal down on the weekend.
What was maybe the worst lie you feel like you had today in the rough?
Probably number 10. Yesterday, I tried to take on that bunker on the left off the tee and did not cover it and was actually in the lip in a very difficult spot. So with the wind being relatively similar, I wanted to take a line that's a little more right with the driver. And I just went through the fairway on the right. So I was only 3 steps into the rough, but I could have gotten a pitching wedge on it, but it would have only gone 70 yards. So I figured a sand wedge, if I could get it on it, would probably go about the same. So I laid up completely sideways, even though I'd say an average, any other day, not here at Muirfield, you miss the fairway by, 3 yards, you probably can advance it and get it up near the green. So that was one. The other par 5, number 7, I had a really difficult lie and only advanced it again like 70 yards. So I had 215 for my third. So you're almost better off in these bunkers, even though they're deep. You can advance it a little bit further out of a fairway bunker than in the rough. So it's just it's a challenge here at Muirfield. Jack makes it hard on us, and you got to stay aggressive.
With like the same angle, would you prefer here a 6-iron from the fairway or a wedge from the rough, would you say?
Yeah, I kind of mentioned it earlier. I'd say I think you still take the wedge, but you're thinking about what the wedge is going to do a lot more than you're thinking about what a 7, 8, maybe even 6-iron's doing on these greens, because 8, 7, 6 are going to land on the green and finish within a few feet of wherever it pitched. A sand wedge could land and it could be 45 feet from where it pitched. You hit a slope and you have backspin. So there's just I think you always want to be close to the hole. I think the stats would say that. But on a day like today, to a back pin, you'd almost rather have a little bit more and be able to kind of one-hop stop something. So it was tough. Looking at second shots into 14, for instance, I mean, that pen is in a very tight little window, and you're going to see guys all day either end up just long of that pen or spin it back off into the rough. Fortunately, the rough there is just long enough to keep it out of the water, but very difficult pens on a lot of those holes where you have wedges.
In terms of just the run you've been on, in terms of the fun you're having, how does this compare in terms just this last month in terms of the most fun you've had like playing golf in your life?
Yeah, I mean, I don't think it can get any better. I'm basically, someone said I'm the hottest golfer on the PGA Tour. I feel like I'm playing right now with a ton of confidence. I'm hitting it kind of more or less where I'm looking with a lot of my clubs. So it's just it's really fun to go on these. Golf's cyclical, but it's fun to be on these highs, and I'm just going to try to stay on the high as long as possible.
Do you feel any different than maybe before the win at Zurich? Or maybe even earlier this year?
Totally. I always said once I got my first win, it would free me up a ton. It's my mindset's never changed from before I won to now, but I'd say I just feel so much more confident in myself and my ability that I've gotten it done. I can weigh back on some of those moments, going back to the Schwab, going back to the Zurich with Andrew, where I hit some really quality shots down the stretch and was able to get it done. And so once you kind of do that a couple times, it frees you up to kind of continue to do it. You can, and you just got to keep the pedal down. And so, yeah, beforehand I was playing pretty solid golf, but I'd say even from my physical game and body wise, I just feel like I'm at a really in a really good place to be an elite golfer.
And along those lines, being in the last groups and playing with a lot of people around, having those wins, do you feel like your routine has changed at all a little bit in these last couple of months?
No, routine's very similar. I'm just playing with new golfers now. The way the tee times work on the PGA Tour, you kind of have featured groups, you have categories where you're in a winner's category. And so someone like me, I was never, unless I got lucky and got paired with them on the weekends, I was never playing with, the Scotty Scheffler, Rory McIlroy, some of these top players. And now I'm just playing with different golfers. Going back to before Zurich, I'm just playing with guys that are haven't won on tour, and you kind of don't. You almost feel like there's two separate tours out there in a way on the first couple rounds, because I'm always playing with the same kind of guys. I was always playing with Charlie Hoffman. I was always playing with Bo Hossler, some of those guys, and it's funny, we joked about it, like everyone in kind of our same category would play a couple times a year, and you go on stretches where you played the same guy, 3 times in a 10-week stretch or something like that, and it just kind of happened. But now I'm obviously going to be playing with some new faces, guys that I'm cordial with, in the locker room and everything, but I've never really played rounds with. So it's fun. It's a new experience, and but from a golf standpoint, everything's the same. Routine's the same.
About the timing, playing later and adjusting your schedule when you're traveling and doing things during the mornings.
Yeah, I mean, my first year on tour, I'm in the Corn Ferry category, so I'm at the back end of the wave. So you're kind of battling sunsets early in the year. The greens aren't quite as good because everyone stepped on them. And then my second year, I was kind of in a category where I was playing more early. So I'd wake up at 4 a.m. a lot. I'd say now I'm going to be waking up at a little bit better hour. Whether or not it's an advantage, it's probably slight advantage. I think that's why they kind of do it, because they want the best golfers in the world to have the best conditions, I guess, in a way. I mean, it's relatively fair. It's as fair as it can possibly get. And the way the tour's set up, it rewards good play. And, I think all of us as golfers, we're just trying to play as well as possible. And there's a lot of the pot of gold's pretty big at the end of the rainbow if you can keep the pedal down. Yeah, totally.
Have you learned anything from, like you said, from playing with different golfers, some more the elite golfers, as you've kind of come along here the last month or so?
I wouldn't say necessarily like learned anything, but when you're playing rounds with really, elite golfers, the best golfers in the world, you're seeing a lot of really high quality shots. So it helps a ton when you're out there and you're seeing guys make birdies and seeing guys hit good shots. It kind of helps the energy of the group. That's kind of one of those things you can't look at stats and see, but when you're in a group, you can feel when the energy's better. Like going back to the front nine with Shane yesterday, we were kind of feeding off of each other. That's really fun. And sometimes it's not like I was playing with necessarily that worse of golfers. I mean, everyone on the PGA Tour is really, really good. But there might have been some days where I was paired with some guys that just, hardly made any birdies. Maybe they're past champions or whatever it is, and they're kind of at the back ends of their career, and they're just they don't hit it quite as far as some of the top golfers in the world, et cetera. So, I mean, the energy in the groups have definitely been nice the last few weeks.
Akshay's playing well, too. Do you remember, the first time you met Akshay? Was he super little?
He probably doesn't even remember because he was so young. But yeah, just like going back to junior golf, we played in the same kind of events in North Carolina, whether it be the Tar Heel Tour, Carolinas Golf Association. There was a bunch of events in North Carolina where I would see, little Akshay walking around. He was probably, I think we have maybe a 6-year gap. So, I started playing those events when I was 11, 12. I think he kind of started playing more when he was 8, 9. So, I mean, he was significantly smaller than me. I would see him out there, but we didn't become really good friends until I'd say the mini tours. I was grinding on the mini tours when he first turned pro, so we were traveling together. I don't know if we necessarily ever roomed together, but we played a lot of practice rounds. We'd always cut up with each other. So I've been really good friends with Akshay for about, I would say, almost 7 years now.
What would you say impresses you about his game?
Yeah, totally. It's been fun just watching. I mean, he's one of those child, prodigies that kind of came out, and it's hard when you're 18 years old and you're all of a sudden a professional golfer and you're managing your own business. Didn't go to college, all that stuff. It's very difficult. So it's been fun for me to kind of see his growth, not only as a player but as a person. His game's very solid. He's very steady. He's had a lot of success at pretty much all levels. So it'll be fun this weekend. I don't know if I'll be paired with him. It looks like I'll probably be with Nick Taylor for doing twosomes, but maybe on Sunday, me and him will battle it out, just like well, maybe not quite like when we were kids because we were in different age categories, but it'll be fun. Just a couple kids from North Carolina trying to battle it out here.
Any adjustments you made to your bag this week for the course conditions, or that you plan to make for the weekend?
Yeah, 7 wood. I normally use my Mizuno 3-iron. I love it. It's one of my favorite clubs in the bag, and certain weeks when it's really wet and the rough's long, it's nice to have like a 7 wood. Some guys even are using 9 woods just because you can kind of chop it out of the rough when you get some bad lies. Now, today I didn't have a chance to use it because my lies were that bad that I had to put wedges on it. But this is a golf course where the par fives going 4 and 2, you want to kind of come in with some height, so the 7-wood adds a little advantage there. As for the rest of the bag, it's pretty much the exact same as I kind of always use.
7-wood this weekend?
Definitely, and same with probably going into the U.S. Open, and then actually, I don't know, maybe I'd use the long iron in the U.S. Open. It all depends on course conditions. I love my 3-iron. It's like one of my favorite clubs, so I hate when I have to take it out, but it all depends on kind of the rough and how firm the greens are. Yep.
Thanks, man.
Thank you, guys. Appreciate it.
Hold on.